Hey, Mr. Steven, this is Kevin Sample. I couldn't zoom in, but y'all can hear me, and I can hear y'all.
All right.
Hey, everybody. It is Thursday. Woo! Look, I'm not here by myself, as you all can see. And I'm the most excited person here. It's not supposed to be that way.
That's not true. That's not true. Don't do it like that.
You guys, listen, we already having a great time. You all listen, first of all, I gotta say welcome to Coaching from the Couch. This is your girl, CWall. It is always a pleasure to get with you all on Thursdays. You guys, listen. First of all, first things first, because we always gotta do what? Be real and transparent. We having issues with the technology, okay? So so I'm trying to catch y'all on my Facebook page and everything else, and we're gonna do that. But we're still going to give the guests here an opportunity to introduce themselves. Maybe about, I guess now it's over a month ago, I had a Washington fan roundtable, and we had a lot of fun. And so essentially what it is, it's getting some of my most favorite fans in the area, and we get on the live during the regular show time, and we talk the Washington football team. So that's what we do.
Let's make it happen.
That's what happens. So listen, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves because we can't see Mr. Kevin Sample. He's on the phone. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself first and let us know how long you've been a fan of the team.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good evening. I'm formerly from D.C., now in Philadelphia. I've been a Redskin fan since I believe I was born. Well, I was born in 1966, so I've been a Redskin fan for almost 54 years. I was born right there, DC General, down the street from RFK. So I've always been a diehard Washington Redskin fan, and Washington Bullets, then Wizards now, and the Capitals and Nationals fan.
Cool. All right, who's up next?
Ladies always first.
Well, I will go. My name is Tika, aka Mika Chu, and I've been a Redskins fan all my life since '84.
Good.
I'm Pranika. I've also been a Redskins fan since I was born. I went to my first game when I was about 5 at RFK, and have been going every year since.
Hey, it's the rally captain, and I've been a fan since '88. Like Big Daddy Kane says, 88, time to set it straight. Ain't no half step.
Wow.
Jamal Piper, I would say a fan since kindergarten is when I really got into him. Was fortunate enough to see 2 NFC championship games as a kid live, 2 victories growing up. So those are fond memories.
Awesome. So we got to say what's up to those that are watching this online. Diehard fan, Cameron Mingo, Fayola Wolf, Mazdak, all the great fans across the area are watching the show, and they're saying what's up to everybody. You guys, make sure you are sharing the show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. Everybody who's on here, you all can hear the show as well. Just make sure you keep the phone on mute because you will hear the feedback. So, but I just wanted to tell everybody who was watching and say what's up to everybody. So, gotta get right into it. Let's just jump right into it. The big topic right now, because at first I was like, all right, we just gonna talk team. In the last couple of weeks, we've done some conversations around, COVID-19, if there will even be a season or anything like that. We're going to go with maybe there will be a season, regardless of what I think. Let's just say there'll be a season. The big topic right now is what, though? the team changing the name? That's the big topic. So before we get into anything else field related, football field related, what's going on the football field, let me know, what do you all think? Should Dan Snyder say, you know what? We know back in 2013, he was like, he was never going to consider changing the name. We know right now, pressure bust pipes. FedEx is now public news that FedEx has requested that the team change the name. We here after all these years. We here. We also know what George Preston Marshall name has come down, statue come down. Okay, so we're here. Who would like to just jump out there and say whether or not they think the team should change the name? And whatever your stance is, feel free to state why you feel that way. I'll open it up.
Well, I'll go. So this has been a big topic, and I've been following it. I feel like it comes up every year about changing the name. We've been, having this conversation every year. But you know what? At first, I was like, no, maybe they should not change the name. Why are they doing this? But in the world that we're living in today, in these times, I do believe that the name should be changed. And, change the name and let's go on about our business. Maybe changing the name, might help us win some more games or something and bring some more championships to the
You don't believe that, do you?
You know what I'm saying?
You don't believe that.
Listen, change is good. Change is good.
You smiling too hard. They let me know you don't believe that.
Change is good. So they need to go ahead and change it. I mean, in my heart, they'll forever be the Redskins for whatever they are. But change the name. Just change it.
Honestly, I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence because I hear both sides of it. As Candy said, I go to all the games. I go to the ones in the desert. I mean, I've been to almost every stadium, and when I go on my travels, I talk to different Native Americans, different people, all in general. And the Native Americans that I have spoken to, now granted, it's not all reservations, but the Native Americans that I've spoken to said that they don't find the name offensive. So if they don't find it offensive, how can I? That's my biggest thing I've always said. That's what I've always said. If the people who I talk to, and they're not getting paid to talk to me, they're just average Joe citizens like we are, and they said no. So I have to revert back to say, I can't speak on the issue, in all honesty.
CWall, Frenika.
So I've heard it from different sides. Generally, most of the people who say that they should change the name are not Redskin fans. They've been fans of other teams, and they may have grown up in the Midwest or near certain. I know some friends from Oklahoma who were saying how offensive they believe it is. They were like, all the Native Americans around here. I said yes, but I've also been to the games when Dan Snyder had a tribe out there who blessed the field. I hope they didn't curse the field, but it was supposedly blessed. And so, I mean, I think at this time, I'm like, I agree with them changing the name now, especially if it really is offensive. But I've heard both sides, but most of the time, the people I hear who say it are not Redskin fans. They're not really from the area. So I don't know if it's just us who are from here who don't see anything wrong with it, or is it, and the rest of the world is seeing something wrong with it. But I think it's definitely worth having a deeper discussion with them about. So, but I mean, we call them the Skins anyway. Most of the time, I don't even use the whole term of Redskins. And they're not saying change the logo. We're just saying change the name. So I'm waiting to see how it all unfolds.
Are you sure they're not talking about changing the logo? Because the last I heard, they said that this is offensive.
I haven't heard anything. I don't know. I don't really know how an Indian necessarily could be offensive, but I mean, if that's the case, then we're going to be changing them everywhere.
Well, think about it like this. The Cleveland Indians changed their Chief Wahoo. Now, Chief Wahoo was, to me, a very racist emblem, and they changed it. So
right.
now here we are with this, and they're saying that they're saying that some Native Americans view it as don't have me on the side of a helmet as a mascot.
Okay.
Jamal, I feel like you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I've come around to changing it. I think whenever you have a team name or mascot named after any group of people, you treading on some water. And whether it's I'm gonna let the Native Americans speak for themselves. Like too many times, every other group is speaking on their behalf instead of listening to them. From Poland and other things you see, but others have shared overwhelmingly, they don't seem to be offended by it. But the fact that you have to have this discussion and raise the question is why I think you should change it. If you look at the last 30 plus years with expansion in every major sport, they've all stayed away from this. They named after the water, the weather, an animal, something very, very generic. Because like, what do you have a mascot as a Native American? Chants that you're doing, kind of mocking their traditions and their heritage. And the only place that seemed to really pull this off without issue is Florida State, because the Seminoles are a tribe in that Tallahassee region. And the Seminole tribe works with the university in terms of how they are represented. I mean, they even approved the uniform designs and the logos before they are released. So that's kind of seems to be the outlier in all of this. There's really nothing on to hold on to. The team really hasn't been consistently relevant in a very long time. You can preserve the history and move on. I mean, it's no need to keep holding on to this. I think my frustration with Snyder when this hit the fan a few years ago was so like indignant he was about holding on to it. And I kind of felt though even the way he was defending it was disrespectful, even though I understood some of the points he was making, he was giving history, he wasn't soft enough in addressing the concerns of those that they did offend. So if the bottom line is it's time.
Yeah, and generally if you have to ask the question if it's racist, then that right there kind of tells you most likely it is. I mean, if we had a black man on there and we were called the Washington Zulus, would we not be offended or anything like that? So you definitely have to hear from the Native Americans and really take the time to listen. And I agree with what he said about Dan Snyder a few years ago. It just was like, he was just like, I'm not going to discuss it. I'm not open to it. But now is definitely the time.
Well, money was going to move this issue. That was the only time that if this was ever going to change, money was going to move. And since we all in this climate, everybody we can say it about black and brown issues. If it's a window now, if this was going to happen, it's going to be within the next year. Because like I said, money was going to move it. Because the Native Americans weren't loud enough, really.
Right.
We're going to be truthful and about diligent about we want this change. It took corporate America to say we want to change. If it's going to happen.
And maybe FedEx will be, this push right here may be what actually ignites that spark.
Kevin, are you there? Are you there, Kevin?
Yes, I'm here. I'm closely paying attention to what everyone is saying. I think the brother Jamal was just speaking. That's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You was making some very valid points. At the same time, I was on the grill cooking some burgers and corn, but nevertheless, I definitely had my earpiece in and I was definitely listening. I'm right here in the heart of Eagle Land. Actually, I'm a mile from the Eagle Stadium. And, I've been getting flack for like but I've been holding it down. I've been getting flack for years. But I think it's time to move on with the changes, with the changing of the times. It just always baffled me how long it actually took for this to really, really come about. But with more things going on, in our world today, I could see why they starting to like ramp it up. And I'm with it. If they change the name, it doesn't change the team, and it'd be nice to see them back in DC. If that'll help them get back into DC, that would be even more the merrier.
Yeah, I think in closing on this topic, I think the reality is it's time. It's time, where this team can eliminate distractions and unnecessary conversation, right? And unnecessary reasons for being in the media. Just change it. You know, I think it probably pulls more at the heartstrings of the fans because we have to remember Dan is a fan as well.
Mhm.
It pulls more at the heartstrings and it's emotional tie more than anything. But if we're talking business and to the point that you made earlier, Franika, about if you have to ask the question, is it racist? Just let it go. The team is doing a lot in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement. And when I brought this up last week, it was in reference to me being asked and me being, people want to shock you. People want to catch you, hey, and it's a media, a fellow media colleague in another market that was straight up and down like, okay, but it's one thing to report on the team, but you're also a fan of this team. You are a huge advocate for Black Lives Matter, as you should be, but you need to explain to me how you can be a huge advocate for the Black Lives Matter movement and support a team with a racial slur as a name. Now, I mean, your girl gonna hold it down, but at the same token, it's absolutely a fair question. And hey, listen, if you want to roll with it the whole way, then you got to cut out any opportunities to be considered hypocritical in what you're doing.
Right.
So that's my sums up of that topic because I do want to get to the football. I do. And I do want to talk about let's imagine a season really does happen. Let's imagine the 2020 what is it? 21? What year is it? 2020. 2021 season.
Right. This is 20
actually
season,
goes down. Let's imagine that. Are y'all excited? Are you all excited about the season?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm mad that COVID kind of came through and kind of took away some stuff because usually I'm hyped about camps and we in July right now, so training camp will be starting in a few weeks, which I guess it still is. I'm not really sure, but I'm psyched. I'm real psyched about this time and the whole coaching staff. We got a whole new coaching staff, just a whole new feel, and I want to see what we got. I just want to see what the product on that field. I just feel like they just going to do some damage.
I have to admit, Tamika, I was so excited. Matter of fact, Rally Captain, I don't have to remind you. Remember, you came on the show. It was the first Thursday of the year.
Yep.
Ron Rivera had just been announced as the head coach that Thursday. Remember, I was coming from Ashburn. When I met you downtown, we did the show. And and we were so hyped. I just can't. I was so excited. I said, you know what? I was so excited about just everything. I was just happy. I just felt like the weight of the world had lifted off my own shoulders. And I and this is just from a media perspective, but again, I'm also a fan. So it's hard to balance but I was like, this is going to be great. Rowdy Captain felt the same way. I mean,
that man had me ready to run through a brick wall. And
that's what I'm saying with that press conference. I was like, oh, yes. We about to do this. Like, let's go. Let me suit up.
Exactly. Yeah. Jamal, are you excited?
I'm excited because I think for the first time in a long time, there's competence at the head coach position.
Bingo.
Yes.
And I think even from not just from the top, you look at his staff, everybody's kind of in the lane where they're supposed to be. Like Del Rio, it didn't work out at 2 stops as a head coach, but he has a good track record as a defensive coordinator. Tom Osula, again, didn't work out as a head coach, but he's respected as a defensive line coach. And with the personnel on defense, I'm really excited to see what they do. And they have 5 first rounders, 4 first rounders on the D line. That should help Collins on the back end. I think the only concern I have is when a new coach didn't draft a quarterback. He's saying all the right things. They didn't really bring in a name veteran, but you look around the league in recent history, when it's not your guy per se, it really doesn't work out for the player.
Yeah.
You know, and they brought in Kyle Allen, and they'll say, oh, well, he's gonna be great in the quarterback room. He knows the system. But he started hot and cooled off, but they've seen him on the field produce in pressure situations. So with the left side of the O-line looking kind of uncertainty, and a young guy they didn't draft, it's like, when is he gonna be like, you know, I got my guy sitting here who knows the system. And particularly when you didn't have OTAs, you're gonna have an abbreviated training camp. They talking about only playing 2 preseason games. You got a young guy who had maturity issues coming in, which we saw. You know, for Urban Meyer to say that publicly means it's probably even more than what he was saying. You know, and you looking, it's like, is he gonna have a short leash with him? You know, because and he's talking about young development. They trying to win. You know, he will try to win games. So that's the only little concern I have of like watching how that plays out. But I'm excited, like I said, that they have is competence at the top for the first time in a while. Price's Gibbs 2.0, that we've kind of had that.
People laugh at me all the time when I say sometimes just for, you know, when I get bored, which isn't often, but when I do, because it does happen, I'll go back and read the transcripts from press conferences with the last coaching staff and read the transcript for the current. And I'm like, that was some sad mess we was going through. And we was stuck with it. It was sitting there like, oh my gosh, like really? And it's funny, but it's so true how exciting it is to have smart people, competence. That's all. Competence isn't asking for much, I feel like, but clearly,
right,
it's not the easiest thing. But we finally got some competence in the coaching staff, and that's something in itself to be very happy about. Friendica, I'm gonna ask you to Jamal's point, mentioning about the coach not bringing in his guy for quarterback. What is your thoughts on that? I mean, we know Jamal called it, you know, and said it accurately, the issues, the challenges about Haskins' maturity. That was a headline topic all last season. So what do you feel about that, and just overall the relationship between Haskins and Rivera, and if that is a concern, because Rivera did bring in somebody who was his guy, right?
Of course it's a concern. I mean, when you're not the top performing, just because you're starting doesn't mean anything. You know, when you haven't really produced anything, and again, the maturity and all of that, you hope that they do gel, and that he is, that Haskins is ready to learn and ready to work hard. It is a concern, but going back, I mean, I'm excited about football. It's football. How can you not be excited? I'm ready for fantasy. I'm ready to get on the clock. I'm ready for everything. Yes. So, but yeah, going back to the quarterback, it's a big concern. I mean, we go every year, you know, it's like, oh, you know, you hold your breath and like, let's just see how this year is going to go. But now, you're like, we got a new staff in here. Our quarterback is young, but you know, I'm waiting to see how he develops under him. I'm really waiting to see.
Small plug for the CWall Sports and Entertainment Fantasy Football League. We'll be having one. Imagine there will be a season. We'll be having
I'm ready for my team to be on the clock. I'm ready.
Imagine there's a football season. There will be a fantasy football league. The CWall Sports and Entertainment. Oh gosh. So let's share. I want to ask you guys. So who do you think will be the most improved player this year? Who is like the player that you are looking at? Like, I really want to see, you know, what this player does. So this would be a player that was here last year, right? That's hopefully will make the roster this year. Who's that player that you're watching out for that you feel like has so much potential and with this new coaching staff will really shine?
Okay, quickly, I'll say I want to see Guy stay out the trainer's room.
That's
right.
Let us.
Yeah, I mean, we know what he can do. We saw it in college. We saw flashes here. Just stay out the cold tub. Stay out the trainer's tape.
Right.
I agree.
I want to see Sweat. I want to see, did he put some meat on his bones? What kind of camp did he have? You know, everybody else on that line is pretty much good to go, but Sweat still, he just didn't. You know what I mean? He just didn't get it the way we thought he was going to come in and be an impact player, and we saw flashes, but then again, we didn't see a lot. So I want to see what they feed him. What I want to know, did he put some meat on his bones? Because playing that position, you need to be a beefy dude. He's a lanky dude. It surprises me. You know, he's tall and lanky. So I want to see what kind of offseason program that they put him through and what his mind state is like coming back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing Terry McLaurin and see how he, is going to improve because, man, he was a beast last year for us. So I can't wait to see what year 2 brings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I piggyback off of that. That is definitely somebody that I'm like, yes, I'm ready to see exactly how he grows into this year.
No, I asked y'all a question, but if I had to, I can't name just one, so I'll pass.
Yeah.
We'll give us 2 then.
Oh God,
Gais is definitely going to be on the list.
One.
So
I really don't have just one. Jimmy Moreland.
Okay.
Gotta see Jimmy. I want to see Jimmy so bad. Oh gosh, I get excited when I think about them. It's funny. Jimmy, and I want to say Steven Sims Jr. Steven Sims Jr. Steve, that kid has so much fight in him. It was a couple times last year we would see him make mistakes, like make drops, and then they throw the ball right to him and he would get it the next time. And so those are kind of like 2 off the break, and of course like Cole Holcomb. I think he's gonna have a fantastic year. I really do.
Well, he wasn't here last year, but I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with Kendall Fuller. I really want to see how they're gonna implement him.
Yeah. That's
you know what I mean?
That's Renika best friend.
Okay.
Best friend.
Wait. Real best friend or play best friend?
I'm the best friend
Can
you
y'all
don't
hear
know
me?
about yet. You don't know
Yeah,
about
let's
me.
bring Kevin back in because I know Kevin was on the grill and everything. Kevin, who you
Hello?
looking to see shine this year?
I'm looking to see. I was going back and I was watching some tapes of him, and I think he can be a real true asset to the team. I'm eager to see another year of Kelvin Harmon. I look back at his highlights last year. It was a couple games that he had some nice games, and I think with his size and his ability, I think of course we know Terry McLaurin going to probably be more than likely our number 1 receiver if they don't bring in someone with a big name late.
Right.
But I'm eager to see Kelvin Harmon. I want to see what Kelvin Harmon can do in this year because I think he will be in the starting lineup. I think it'll be McLaurin, Harmon, and Sims.
Well,
but I'm really eager to see Kelvin Harmon.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's talk about that. We and look, time flies when you're having fun because it's already a little after 8:00, y'all. But let's talk about this real quick. The wide receiving core. We've seen so many articles, at least I have, talking about how Dwayne Haskins is essentially set up for failure, right? He won't, because they don't have any weapons. There's no weapons. And I think that's true to a degree. I think there's no proven weapons. But I think that this wide receiver core will shock a lot of people. I feel like I see the talent there. They just were not coached accordingly. But what do you all think? I mean, would it benefit the group to have a veteran wide receiver brought in? Because if we remember, the team did go after Amari Cooper. They did. Strong offer for Amari Cooper. Didn't get him. He wanted to stay in Dallas. So, what's your thoughts on this wide receiving group as it stands today?
It seems like they go play the long game and see how these young guys develop this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially that the year McLaurin had, him and Haskins having chemistry from college. Can they build on that? And it's going to be a defensive run-oriented team anyway. I think you're going to see a lot of play action. They go use that D-line to get pressure on the quarterback, get good field position. And, with Scott Turner's Noah's son, which you look at the Turner offense over the years, a lot of running, a lot of use of the tight end, a lot of quarterback-friendly routes. I mean, Noah had Teddy Bridgewater with his rubber arm playing in cold weather, about to beat Seattle in the playoff game in the cold. They find a way to put the quarterback in a good position. So the fact that they are building, I think they go really have the defense like position us well, and don't put too many demands on a young quarterback, a young receiving core, a questionable left side of the offensive line, and that's gonna kind of be their strategy going into this season. And then maybe next year, if these guys disappoint or they need to add another weapon, they'll look in the draft and look at free agency from there. But I think we ain't gonna fit every need every offseason, especially with the new staff. And I think that's something they're gonna let these guys play, give them an opportunity, and then say, okay, we saw enough. We gonna keep you, or we gonna bring somebody else in.
Well, I believe all the ingredients are there. I really do. It's just a matter of who's going to be able to be this, like you said, the season one that steps up. And I'm looking forward to seeing Antonio, Gandy Golden? I believe that's his name. I mean, AGG is I'll just call him, so I may have his name mixed up. But I'm interested to see how he really is going to shine, because he has the potential to shine, even though he comes from a smaller school.
Any other thoughts for Nika, Tamika, Kevin?
I mean, our wide receiver coach has been proven to help the careers of various wide receivers. So, I mean, I think he's the guy that can develop these young receivers and to turn them into something. I mean, he's helped with T.Y. Hilton and Devontae Adams. So, before then, I mean, a lot of us didn't know who they were. So he can pull it out. So we might actually have some little diamonds in the rough in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everybody, and I agree with what Pranika said. I believe we do have some diamonds in the rough, but this year is going to be the year to see, what we have, and what we need to develop. If we need to, do some extra development, or like Jamal said, bring somebody else in next year. But see what we have right now. I think we'll be okay.
I think we will finally see a competitive team. That's probably one of my biggest asks is just be competitive. Just look like you practiced this week.
Right.
Look like, I mean, because some days I was like, I don't know, is practice over? Where are we at? Rodney Captain, you've been out there before, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You've seen it. Is it over? Okay, so yeah.
Leadership.
Exactly.
Or lack of, some to say.
Yeah. Well, you guys, that's the end of the show. Yay!
Oh, hey.
Armless.
This is fun.
It's fun. It's not
for you. I have
what
one
was
question.
That?
And my question is this. Mm-hmm. We just saw reports from Buffalo saying that if there is COVID, no fans will be in the stadium. So how do they expect the team to be able to play? Not the saying that you need fans, but if one player has COVID, then how many people need to be quarantined if one player has it?
Oh, I mean,
we can't leave on this note now. Come on now.
I mean, we might as well talk about it. I was trying to imagine a world where there would be a football season this season.
Come on now.
Okay, if we want to be honest,
he brought you back down to reality.
Right, okay, we're back to reality. All right. I honestly have no idea how they're going to pull off this season. I don't. Now, of course, the Bills have already said no fans. That's out.
Right.
I do believe that other teams, since the teams have the autonomy to make that decision themselves, I believe that we'll see that a lot. I think we're going to see that because it's already a risk for the players to play anyway. I think they're going to want to limit as much as possible interactions with fans and all of that, at least in person action, right? Or interaction. I don't know how they're going to do it. I know there's talk about increasing the number of practice squad spots in case they got to rotate players in and out. Right? So maybe they'll do the same with the main roster. I have no idea how they're going to pull it off. Absolutely none. Like I have mentally prepared myself for no football, this season. I really have. Okay. But I do this because it's fun and it's work, and nobody said there's no season, so we're gonna keep acting like it's gonna be a season.
Gotcha. Now, with you being a fan, and this goes to everyone, with everyone being the true fans that we are, how many of you guys gonna sign a waiver to attend if you need to?
Okay. And I think I might have sounded off on Twitter on this. I'm not signing no waiver because I'm not going to nobody's stadium with a mask on. I can't do that because how am I supposed to fully enjoy myself at the game and hoo-hoo and, rah-rah and talk stuff to people with a mask on? Like, it's just not a good feel for me. So I'm not signing a waiver. I'll just stay at home and watch and, and go that way, but I'm not signing a waiver. Absolutely not.
Anybody else signing it? Let me
I'm just thinking about getting through security. Like, wow. Getting through the parking lot by itself. Right. Just, you all know, trying to get in that stadium and, I'm like, whoo, that tests your nerves right there.
Yeah.
But but you're so excited for football. You're just so excited for it to come back. But I'm like, I will probably be watching it on TV. But it's disappointing because, we've had season tickets for nearly 20 years. And to think now, I don't want to risk my family, them coming out there. My mom still comes out there, so you got to really think, put that in perspective. But then they would lose a lot of money for us coming. Is it worth them trying to fire up all these grills at these concession stands with either half or a third of the people that are there? Is it worth all of that? And they talk now about when you are speaking, just how you could get it. Imagine us yelling or singing "Hail to the Redskins."
Say yelling too.
I'm taking wipes now when I'm high-fiving the sweaty guy in front of me. I couldn't even imagine. And the girls beside me, like, do you have your wipes? Can I get, yes. I couldn't even imagine, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to get through security with my whole quarantine packet that I would need to get in. They would be like, no, ma'am, you can't bring that in.
That's true. That's real.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, those are the questions that I have. I mean, and then the other thing that they talked about was, now y'all know where I sit. Every stadium I go, I sit row 1. They have already said that they're looking at taking away the first 9 rows.
Yep.
So that would defeat my fan experience, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, granted, my row was not that crowded last year. At least most of the season ticket holders did not come back. But sitting 6 seats apart is not going to work. It's just, I'm like, how is that really going to work? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. We all are waiting anxiously to see what happens. So we'll see. I mean, we're hoping for a season. That's what we want.
We want a season. I just don't have to be there.
Right.
Right.
So thank you all so much for joining me live. Thanks to my roundtable guests and thanks to those watching. So you all make sure you are continuing to share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. And I will see you all next week.